Hi, here we are going to look at aggregate functions. Whenever we have a set of record, we may want the total of some parameter, or we may want to find its average. We may want to find out the maximum value or minimum value. Sometimes we may even need the count of things, like how many records are existing for a particular value with some condition. For these, we have what is known as aggregating functions like sum for totaling, average, count is for counting rows, and maximum of a value from a range, and similarly minimum. Now, we may not summarize the values on completely on aggregate. We may do it under some conditions. For example, we might want to find out the total sales of only Innova cars. That is only one condition. The car has to be Innova. Or we may want to find out the average marks of engineering students, and that too from Bangalore. So, like having multiple conditions. Okay. So, same formula are modified and used like sum if, that means for condition, and sum ifs for more conditions. Similarly, count if for one condition and count ifs for more conditions. Let us take example by looking at a data set and see what questions arise and what we can answer using this. Here we can see a table of order data. We have order date, order priority, say low, high, or medium, or not specified somewhere. And then we have order quantity and sales in rupees. Now, when we can see a data, tabulated data like this, it has certain number of records. It may have very large number of records, like may have 2000 or 5000. Okay. So we may want to get some answers for getting summary of this data. For example, how many high priority orders are there in this data set? Or how much was the total sales? That means adding up all the sales values here. Okay. Or how much was the quantity sold with a particular condition, that is in the year 2011. Similarly, we may want to find out the average sales of medium priority orders. We may want to find out what was the maximum sale value or minimum order quantity. Let us see the functions in Excel, their syntax, and what do they actually do. Okay, here you can see the formula is sum. Syntax is equal to sum within bracket range. What is the meaning of range? Range means a certain number of cells in a row or column. For example, from B1 to B20. So we may like to add this, right? So it gets the total, right? Now sum if is similar to sum, but it has to have a condition. So condition means you may call it criteria, but in a table there are different columns. So we may like to apply criteria on one particular column and get the sum of some other column. For example, we may want to add the total sales of one model of mobile. That means the model is a criteria. So under model, we may choose one particular criteria. For example, model could be Sony. So the formula then comes as sum if. Then you write the criteria range. That means you specify the full column which you are going to use it as a criteria, like models of all mobiles. Put a comma after that and put the next argument and indicate your criteria. So this criteria you are supposed to indicate. If it is a numerical value, directly put the value. If it is a string or words, then you have to put it in double quotes. Okay, that's it. For example, if it was Nokia, then you would put Nokia in double quotes. then put a comma, and lastly you give the argument as to which column do you want to add. For example, if you want to add the sales, choose the complete column of sales. Okay, so this will get the sum of a range with this particular condition. Similarly, sum ifs is similar to sum if, but more than one condition. Notice the difference in this formula. The sum range comes first as an argument, and then you can have multiple criteria. So you give the criteria range 1, that means specify a column, say from B1 to B22, and then give the criteria, whatever, say Nokia, and then criteria range 2, it could be year. So select the column which gives year, that is the criteria range, and criteria 2 would be, suppose you want to find it in 2012, so write 2012 over here. Okay, that's how under conditions it would get. The next ones are count A and count. Notice both are meant for counting a range only. That range means, say from B1 to B20, it is going to count the number of rows. But what does count A do? It counts the rows wherever the cells are not blank. That means in some places, in some cells, if they are left blank, they will not be counted. The other rows would be counted. Whereas count function also counts the number of rows, but it will count the number of rows only when numeric values are put. If there is a text or a blank, it won't count. Okay, it will count only the numeric values. Please notice the difference. Whenever we are counting the numbers, use count. Whenever you are counting text, so use count A for alphabet, that way it's easy to remember. Okay, and similar to how we did earlier for the conditions, we have count if. So you just give a range as a first argument where you want to count and then specify the criteria. Okay, that means count the number of rows where, let us say if it is a mobile model where the model is Nokia. Okay, similarly Countifs. So here you give criteria range 1 and criteria 1, and then criteria range 2 and criteria 2, and so on. Okay, max and min are simple formulas. You need to just specify the range, that means from which cell to which cell, and it will give the maximum value from that range, and similar is the minimum value. Let us actually see an example. Okay, first let us see the table again. Here we have the table where we have order IDs, and then we have, like, this column is order IDs, and then we have order dates, and then we have order priority and order quantity and sales. Okay, just made it a bit bigger for everyone to see it clearly. Order ID, order date, order priority, order quantity and sales. Now we have the questions like we just saw before to obtain the summary. Let us take a look at how we are going to apply the formula. Okay, I would like to draw your attention to how we had used the naming of cells and cell ranges. Okay, this is a particular table. Okay, now we would like to make the sum of sales, correct? So this whole thing, whole column is nothing but sales. So if you can see here, I have selected all the cells from this column, and please notice over here you can find sales. This is the name of the range. Likewise, as you can see, it is the name of the column heading also. So likewise, all the columns in this particular table have been named by their respective column headings. Okay, right? How do we see that and where do we see that? Go to formulas, okay, and go to name manager. For those of you who have not seen my earlier video on name manager and naming cells, please go back and see that particular video, so things will become clear to you. Now in this name manager, you can see all the column headings have appeared here as names, and it is telling refers to which column. That means each columns have been given the names like this. Okay, fine. All right. What is the advantage of this? You will see its advantage and use in the formula that we are going to see just now. Okay. Let us shift to the formulas. Let's move to the right. All right. Here are the formulas. Okay. Let me make it a little bit smaller so that you could see the full formula. All right. I suppose it is clearly visible. Okay. First, we want to find out the total quantity from the table. And here you can see the answers. Okay, we have got the answer. But what is the formula used? Actually, you can see it here. But for your convenience, I have copied this particular thing formula, what is used in the next uh, here, right? So, in these respective answers, these are the formulas which are used. And since I have explained the syntax, now it will make sense very easily. So, if you want to find total quantity, okay, in fact, it should be total sales, right? So we write equal to sum of sales. Okay, that's all. So what is sales actually? It is the name given to the column, and therefore your findings is 34096.81. Okay. Now, next one is total quantity. Fine. So it is going to add up the column of quantity. Okay. It is going to add up the column of order quantity, but under a condition. Which condition? The priority must be high. So what is the formula used? Sumif. So first you write uh, the the criteria range. Criteria range is the column where what is the name of the column? Order priority. And what is the criteria? The order priority should be high. So you can see here that the criteria is high because we want to find out total quantity of high order priority items. So this is the uh, criteria. But what do you want to sum? So last one is we want to sum up the order quantity. So we get sum of order quantities, and the answer here is likewise 139. Let us see the next. Total quantity of high priority. Now that means priority must be high, that is condition 1, and the year must be 2012. Now how do you get 2012? That's the question. Because if you go back to the table, you will find the dates are written here. Okay. So where 13, 10, 2010, 1, 10, 2012 and so on. Okay. So how will you find out when we want to find the total of uh, quantity, that means the number of items sold of high priority, that is condition 1, but in the year 2012. So a small trick has been used over here. As you can see, first is the what do you want to sum? We want to sum the order quantity, put a comma. Next argument is the criteria range 1, which is order priority, and it should be high. Fine, put comma, and then next criteria range order date. What do we want? The order date should be in 2012. So how do you get 2012? Since in the table there are 3 years data given, 10, 11 and 12. So we have used a simple trick by using in double quotes. We have written, please notice here, in double quotes we have written greater than 31st December 2011. So a date which appears later than or is greater than 31st December 2011 obviously lies in 2012. So with this trick, we have applied the second criteria of the quantities in 2012. So likewise, so we got the order quantities of high priority in 2012, that is coming to 76. Number of orders. This is straightforward like count, but I am counting order ID. Remember, I had mentioned that whenever you are using count function, there must be numbers there. So order ID is numeric, say order number 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So you can count the number of rows. So the total number of orders are 25. Okay. All right. But now we want with the condition number of high priority orders. So count if. Okay. So give the criteria range, that is order priority, put a comma. And what is the criteria? That means order priority is the criteria range. And this should be what? It should be high. So put a comma and put in double quote high. So it will count only those rows wherever high is written in the column order priority. That's it. Similarly, low priority orders, that is condition 1, and sales above 1000, that means the sales value should be more than 1000, but the orders should be low priority orders, right? So we have used Countifs, and we have put the first criteria range as the order priority, it should be low, and sales we have put in double quotes. Remember to put the expression, this is called an expression in Excel. So under double quotes you write greater than 1000. So when you write like that, you will find the answer, as there is only one order which meets this condition of low priority, but sales value is more than 1000. Similarly, we can also count, but we are counting here just to show you how we can use count A. But we are counting the column where order priority is mentioned, like high, low, medium, not specified, etc. And those columns also add up to 25. If there was something left blank, then it would come lesser. Okay, because it counts only the cells where something is written. Count a function counts the rows where something is entered. Blank cell is not counted, right? Maximum sales is straightforward, max within bracket sales, and minimum is also likewise, min is sales, and that's it. So in this way, we can pretty much very easily get answers to summary questions, either overall aggregate summary or under one or more conditions. This will be useful to you, surely.
And yes, if you find this useful, click the like. If you wish to catch several such videos, hit subscribe. For notifications, ring the bell and share this so that others too can watch. Bye.